Hello, can you two hear me? Hello,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello, hi girls, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I've sent a message on the chat if you can't hear me. Oh, you can hear me. Can you hear me? Ah, excellent. I can't hear you guys at all. Eliza, you're on silent or mute.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can't hear you at all. Neither of you. With my speakers. Very strange. It was working earlier when I was teaching. Let me just bear with me 1 second. Let's try and get this. Can you hear me now? I've unmuted something?
We can still hear you. Can you hear
Yay!
us?
I can hear you. How are you girls?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
I'm good. I've damaged my neck, so if you see me sitting in a very strange position, it's because I'm in a bit of pain and I have no feeling in my left hand. So when I'm typing, if I'm really slow, just bear with me and we'll get through this. So how was your summer holidays?
It was okay.
Bit boring, huh?
Not that boring. It's okay.
Just stuck at home. Stuck at home. I managed to go to England for 2 weeks, but I was in quarantine, so I didn't do anything. But it was nice to see my family. So we are still waiting. Anyone know anything about him? I was only told yesterday that he's doing history, so do you know if he knows himself?
Well, I mean, I think he'll see that you added him to the group. So,
Yeah, you're right. Right. Well, today's lesson, I'm just going to explain a little bit about this course, this IGCSE Cambridge history course, which we'll be doing over year 10 and year 11. And hopefully I'll be your teacher for both years. I've chosen what I think are really interesting, and it's what my class did last year, and they loved it. And just so you know, the class got 3 A stars and a C. So if we work together and work hard, I promise you, you'll do really well. So this is it. It is the Cambridge IGCSE History. Okay, so you know what you've entered into, don't you? It's 2 years of discussions and talking and writing essays and learning about history, and it's 20th century history, so it's all current or recent. The picture of the book I sent you, I don't suppose you've received them yet, have you?
not yet.
Not yet. Well, what I'll do is every lesson until you get the books, I will either take a photo, scan, or somehow get you the pages of the book that we're working from, and then school any day should have your books ready. So throughout this course, and this is the front cover of the book we'll be working from, we will be studying something called the core content, and we will be doing we will be looking in depth at the First World War, which started in 1940 and ended in 1918. And the core content is all the factors leading up to what we will be studying in depth. I will tell you more about this, but just so you know that there are two parts to this course. There's the core content and there is the depth study. So the depth study is what you need to learn really, really well. But we will be doing loads of activities, loads of exercises. We will be discussing lots and lots and lots. And it will ingrain in your mind. I'm very easygoing, so you can ask me any questions you want, and I will always help you. Homework, you will get various bits and bobs of homework. You need to make sure that you keep everything, because if something happens like last year, you need to document everything you've done. So I'm hoping that you will be using the computer to type up notes, or you've already got a notebook to help you and remind you, and everything needs to be dated. If you do stuff on the computer, feel free to email it to me. And if you do stuff by hand, take a photo and send it to me. And then when we get together in class, I will take it to mark. So that's just an outline of what we will be doing over the next 2 years. Are there any questions about that before I explain it fully to you? No? All right then, let's move on. Can you guys hear me now? Because I've put the air conditioning on and it's quite loud.
We can hear you, and I don't hear the air conditioning.
Okay, good. Yeah, I live in a really old house and the air conditioning is really noisy. So, during this course, we will be focusing on the major international issues of the 20th century, and we will be studying in detail the regions which dominated this period. So everything that took over, that took control, that happened in the 20th century, we will be looking at. First of all, we will be looking at it briefly, and then afterwards we will be going into more detail. I encourage discussion. I love questions. I can't always answer every question, but I will always do my best to answer, or we will research together, or you can do some independent research and gain more knowledge by doing this. I love research. I hate doing everything by the book because I don't believe you're going to gain all the knowledge you need just by looking at the book. So I love it when students think outside the box, come up with new ideas where they're able to express themselves. As I said, I'm very easygoing. I've taught you before, but briefly, and I will always help you. And as we progress through this course, you will develop the skills required to provide an in-depth account of major events. Now, this course requires quite a bit of writing. We will start small, and by the end you will be able to structure proper essays. I'm also an English teacher, so I will be helping you to structure essays, to answer questions how the exam board expect you to answer questions, and we will work together to develop a good, solid relationship with history and as a teacher with my students. Any questions on that before I go to the next slide?
No.
Okay. So for the Cambridge IGCSE candidates, you will have 3 exams. And this consists of paper 1, paper 2, and paper 4. Okay, so paper 1, and bear in mind that this will be done next year when it comes to your exams, but we will be working towards it. So for paper 1, there are 2 questions on the core content, and there will be 1 question on the depth study that we will be studying together in class. Your depth study, as I said, is the First World War. Paper 2, you will have 6 questions on 1 topic of the core content. Now, in a minute, I will tell you what is involved in the core content. I'm just giving you an overview. If you notice, there is no paper 3 because paper 3 is coursework. We will not be doing coursework. I have chosen the option where it's exam only, and that's what the school will be entering you to do. So you do not have to worry about coursework or getting case studies together or anything like that for Cambridge to mark, as you will be doing 3 exams rather than 2 exams and 1 coursework. If you want to do coursework, it's not an option, but if you did want to do coursework, I will tell you now that there is a lot more work involved. It's not just working towards the exams and learning and being able to focus in depth on what we're doing in class. Coursework is a lot of work, so honestly, you will be grateful not to do the coursework. And then you've got paper 4, and this is a written paper. It is an essay question from the depth study about the First World War. So, like I said, we are doing option B, which means you will have no coursework. You will have homework, but you will not have any coursework that you need to complete and send off to Cambridge for marking. So we will do lots of practice with essay questions. We will be using past papers. We will be developing your skills. You will be learning how to structure essays, and you will be learning how to analyze and offer in-depth opinions. You will also be able to look at photographs from the past and analyze them and talk about photographs, propaganda, why those photographs were even created, various things like that. And I encourage discussions. So like I said before, any questions, talk about them. Even if you think they're stupid or silly or we're going to laugh at you, we're not going to laugh at you, because no question, actually it could be really relevant and something very, very interesting that you can include in your essays. Okay, so any questions about this right now? No? Okay. So I've been speaking about core content. And during this course, our core content for option B is going to focus on the following questions. They're key questions. They've got subtopics, but the key questions are what you need to start learning about. Now, if you can't read these photos clearly, I've taken a photograph from the book and put it on this slideshow, but I will scan the actual pages and send them to you. So the core content for option B, which, like I said, we will be focusing on the 20th century. The first one is, were the peace treaties of 1919 to 23 fair? The second key question is, to what extent was the League of Nations a success? Number 3, why had international peace collapsed by 1939? Number 4, who was to blame for the Cold War? Number 5, how effectively did the United States contain the spread of communism? Number 6, how secure was the Soviet Union's control over Eastern Europe in 1948 to 1989? And number 7, why did events in the Gulf matter? Yes, Alyssa.
Your voice keeps like fading out and then coming back, so like a lot of what you say, it's just like cut. I can't really hear you that clearly.
Oh, did you hear me read the key questions?
Most of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so these key questions, and if you can't hear me, just put your hand up and I know to repeat what I've said.
Can
Okay,
you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, finally, because it took a while.
Oh no, that's fine, I can hear you. Just put your hand up if you can't hear me and I'll know to stop and repeat if needs be. So these are the 7 key points and questions that we will be covering in the core content. Okay, and this core content will take us up until the end of next year, up until your exams at the end of year 11. I will be giving you various quizzes, various brain joggers to get you thinking, but these are the 7 questions and subheadings that you will be learning over the next 2 years. And this is the core content for option B. For our depth study on the First World War, we are going to be looking in depth at the following questions. So, why was the war not over by December 1914? Why was there stalemate on the Western Front? How important were the other fronts? Why did Germany ask for an armistice in 1918? And was the Weimar Republic doomed from the start? So, I mean, we're not going to be looking at Germany in depth, but that's one thing you will have to know a little bit about, and that's why I included it. It's not part of your depth study, but we're going to add it in because you will need to know a bit about it for the First World War. So this is your depth study that will also take you until the end of next year to finish. There may be some words or vocabulary on here that you don't know, but don't worry about it. It may all be a bit of garbage for now, but as we go through the course, I will be giving you vocabulary and I'll be giving you the meanings, and you will get to grips with it. It will all fall into place eventually. So, before I continue, have we got any questions? That is just a brief overview of what the next 2 years are going to look like for you in IGCSE History. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, that's fine. Just bear in mind that whenever you hand work in and I mark it, I will always mark it with comments. It doesn't mean that you haven't done it well. I'm trying to get you to answer questions and look at things and analyze things and help you to do what the exam board are asking of you in order for you to get good grades. And I repeat over and over again, I will always help you, and any question is a good question. There are no silly questions in my class, and I encourage discussions. I love talking. I love to hear what you have to say. So don't be shy, open up to me, we'll get on with this together and we'll have fun while we do it. And the nice thing about your class as well is there are not many of you. So it'll be much easier for us and we'll be able to look at things properly. So our week is going, we have 2 lessons a week together. And I've divided it up. Every Sunday, we are going to be working on our depth study, which is the First World War. And every Monday, we are going to be working on the core content, okay? So this week, just only this week, today and tomorrow, we will be starting our depth study. And from next week, we will do Sunday core content. No, sorry, Sunday depth study and Monday core content. So our depth study is the First World War, 1914 to 1918. If you don't know much about the First World War, it doesn't matter because we are going to do a very, very brief introduction. This is not going to be a full lesson because I'm going to ask you to do some research of your own before tomorrow's lesson. And then we will start doing things by the book or, you know, discussing. Before I continue, do either of you know anything about the First World War that you would like to share?
Well, we took it last year in history.
Okay, and what do you remember?
I remember the war between Germany and England.
Okay, do you remember anything specific?
I remember, I think he was like the heir or something, or like a duke got killed, like murdered or
Okay.
assassinated or something when he was like on a trip in Austria or Hungary. I don't remember the specifics.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying what you remember. I'm not going to
And
again.
and then because of like militarism and like imperialism and all that stuff, a war broke out, which like was the First World War.
I
Okay.
also remember that it started because the Archduke of Hungary, Ferdinand, I think, he was assassinated. Him and his wife were killed when they went on a trip,
Uh-huh.
and because they took a wrong turn, and there was one of these gang leaders, and they shot them. They were originally supposed to be killed in a crowd, but they missed and killed some other people. And
Right.
so they went, and they're going to a cafe or something, and the driver took a wrong turn.
Okay. Anything else? Do you know how the war ended?
With the Treaty of Versailles,
Okay. Any?
or was that World War II?
No, you're right. The Treaty of Versailles. You're right. I'm not commenting much. I'm just trying to see what you know. Like I said,
And
we're going to be doing it all again. So for now, I'm just trying to see what you know and what you can remember. Just generally seeing how we get on. So is the First World War a topic that interests you both?
yeah,
Yeah.
I like teaching the First World War, I have to say. I do like it, and I've got some interesting activities and various things that you will be doing throughout the year. So I am going to give you a very, very brief introduction to the First World War before we touch deeper on it tomorrow and start the content basically of the course. So the First World War, oh, I've lost my, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
yeah.
So the First World War was described by the British Prime Minister, David Lloyd George, as the cruelest and most terrible war that has ever scourged mankind. So we are going to look at whether the peace treaties of 1919 to 1923 are fair or not. First of all, you need to understand what a peace treaty is. And a peace treaty is an agreement between two or more hostile parties. Usually they are countries or governments which formally ends a state of war between parties. And from what I've understood from Elazar, you already know about the Treaty of Versailles, or you've touched upon it, so you know a little bit about the treaties and what the government did and the settlements and meetings. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. But as you did it in year 9, you only touched it. You didn't go into depth and learn all about it. And that's what we are going to do. Okay? So throughout this chapter, we aim to consider the roles of individuals such as Wilson, Clemenceau, and Lloyd George in the peacemaking process. We will examine the impact of the treaties on the defeated countries, and we are going to look at contemporary opinions about the treaties. Now, when the war ended in 1918, immediately there were plans made to hold a peace conference in Paris in 1919, and that's where the Treaty of Versailles comes from. However, this conference produced several peace treaties that are referred to collectively as the Versailles settlements. Okay, so I've only touched upon it. I've only explained a little bit about it. Can you girls tell me whether you know anything about Wilson, Clemenceau, and George Lloyd? Do you know who they are?
No.
No?
No.
No, okay, that's fine. That's what I wanted to hear. Because for tomorrow, you have a little bit of homework. Not much and nothing that you need to hand in to me. All I want you to do is I want you to do a little bit of research to find out who Wilson, Clemenceau, and Lloyd George were. And I want you to write a few notes about them so that we can discuss them and talk about them tomorrow. And I also want you to research the Versailles settlement and make notes so we can also discuss it in our next lesson. You need to bear one thing in mind, that the Treaty of Versailles that Lisa or Elazar spoke about is just one part of the Versailles settlement. It isn't the whole thing. It is just one part of it. Now, this is not work that I'm going to mark. It's just so that you can research and get a little bit of in-depth knowledge so that tomorrow we can have a discussion and talk about them. So like I said, there is no need to hand this work in, but please make sure that you have all your notes written neatly if you are doing it on paper, or if you are doing it on computer, include the date and write your name, so that if I ever do ask for your work in, I know whose it is, and also so that you have a record of this course throughout the next 2 years, and all work must be kept neat and tidy throughout the whole thing. And we will often refer back to work we've done for homework or in class, and I could ask for work at any time. So very simple, even if it's just reading and writing a few notes. I want you to research these 3 people and tell me tomorrow who they are. And I want you to research the Versailles settlement and make notes so that we can discuss it in class and you can tell me what it is. Have we got any questions?
No.
No. Was this lesson, did I clear up any questions that you may have had about what we're going to be doing throughout this course?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, at any time, message me, ask me questions. I'm here for you and I will always help you. I will never leave you in the dark and leave you to struggle. But if you are struggling, I need you to tell me that you are struggling so that I can help you. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right then, girls. I will leave you to it and I will see you tomorrow. And keep
Thank you.
the PowerPoints. I'll always send them to you 15 minutes before every lesson. And then that way you've always got them on record, something to look back to, and I'll always label them lesson 1, lesson 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Okay, girls?
Yep.
Yeah,
And have a lovely day.
You
you
too.
too.
Bye.